Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It just occurred to me that I have been on a massive Hearts of Iron 4 binge, and I needed to look at something else before I lost my damn mind trying to play a game that I literally only picked up a few days ago, and I already decided to challenge myself and going, I'm gonna pick Hitler and go a peaceful route and unite the world in peace and harmony. Context for all that shit maybe another day. I'm being rude again. Where are my introductions? Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. My name is Ryan, aka the Rhyme Man. I welcome you if you're new to this channel, and also question why you're starting here and not going all the way back to at least the start of this season, or even the start of Season 1. I digress. This is Katawa Shoujo, or as a lot of us seem to have been calling it, Rhyman's Bizarre Adventures in Katawa Shoujo. The last time we were here, which actually was not that long ago, everything has been falling down literally around us. Okay, not literally, because there'd be no school, and it's full of children, and that would turn this into a completely different dark story. But Lily, the blind girl, is leaving, and we are in desperate need. His sow is in desperate need of a goddamn Hail Mary pass. The snap of my mobile phone's closing contrasts with the ambient chatter and noise audible even in the hallway outside the library. It's the first day of the summer holidays, a time that perpetually seems so far away, and yet now it's not only here, but also made painfully obvious by the students, or lack thereof, left in the school. Most of the students have returned home to spend the holidays with their relatives by now. The few that are left are mostly chattering between themselves, usually about what they intend to do in the coming weeks. It makes me feel like the odd one out for taking advantage of the school library being open for the first several days of the holidays. Ostensibly, it's for the students to drop off any books they borrowed and yet to return, the lazy pricks, and for those who will have their parents pick them up to help pass the time until they get whisked away. I almost thought that was going to say get whiskied away. Actually, that might be better for some people here until they get whiskied away. Away. I can't read, folks. You're in for a bumpy ride. Thanks to the recent lengthy phone call from my parents, which had so rudely woken me from my sleeping on a beanbag at the back of the library, I'm now in the latter category. So wait a minute. So what's Hanako up to? Did she already ditch? Because I know she had plans. Oh, she's probably off on an assassination gig. I'm not going to give you context. Go back in the seasons. Sliding my phone back into my pocket, this time remembering to set it to silent, I go back into the quiet and wholly placid room. It's a nostalgic sight, just as when Lily first led me to the library. The orange tint of the sunset bathes the room in a light while Hanako sits on a beanbag, silently reading, and Yuko fusses, just barely visible behind the counter. Hanako especially has been noticeably more quiet than usual since yesterday's happenings, but I can't really blame her. It wasn't just me that depended on that person after all. I quietly walk back to the beanbag near her, where I'd sat before, being doubly careful not to make any unnecessary noise. It's been a while since I got to see this lovely picture. The soft purr it gives as the bag takes my weight makes Hanako's eyes flick towards me, but only for a second. I get the feeling that Hanako's been quiet only partly out of sadness following Lily's departure. Rather, she seems more thoughtful and measured than I'd expected, perhaps due to her desire of working out how to deal with Lily's leaving rather than just being depressed over it. It makes me a little proud of her. Our little killer is growing up. Hey, Hanako.
Yeah?
Still going ahead with your idea of traveling? She gives a determined nod.
I'll be starting in a day or two. Naomi's decided to come with me too.
Wow, quick start. Where'd you two headed to first?
I think we're going to start by going north, then loop down and go southward.
So... Hokkaido's going to be first? No way I got that word right. She gives another nod, more tentative than the last. The significance of that place is not lost on either of us. Do you know where you're going to handle the traveling expenses and accommodations?
Yeah, I've worked everything out. I think it should be okay. Naomi says she has her side worked out too.
You know that if you need anything, you can just call, right? I gave you my number before. Any time of day is fine. It's not like I've got nothing to do. She gives a smile, which in itself feels like a small personal victory.
I know. Thanks, Hisao.
Maybe Lily was right. Although I may offer Hanako any help I can possibly give, I feel as if I know she doesn't need it. She really has grown. Hanako's plans for the holidays are in sharp contrast to my simple following of my parents' suggestion to stay with them. Holidays had always made me feel less excited than most though, so maybe this is just a return to the status quo. Before my heart attack, I'd always lived so aimlessly that holidays weren't all that much different from my everyday life anyway. After school, I'd wander around a bit in the city, often hanging out with some friends, before making my way home to eat dinner with usually one of my parents, but rarely both. Their work schedules didn't leave much time for them to be home, and going there straight from school just wouldn't have meant I'd end up feeling abroad. I was an urbanite through and through. Lee, I'm already an urban. No one's gonna get that, Ryan. Since coming to Yamako, though, it feels like I've fundamentally changed as a person. The phone call with my parents erased any traces of doubt I might have held on that, in any case. Well, before I had exercised a fairly normal level of independence for a teenager. That being not the whole lot, my parents were more than pleased to hear my newfound ability in taking care of myself. Laundry, cooking for myself, cleaning, all in addition to the other general chores that come from living with my parents around. Just little menial things I've had to pick up, but with relative ease. When I think about it, I've always depended on them, even if they haven't been at home all the time. To say I've never depended on anyone after moving to Yamako dormitories would be far from the truth, though. Excuse me? The two of us look up at the awkwardly fidgeting figure in front of us. Some things never change. It's getting close to closing time, so, get the fuck out of my library. I'm reminded of this video I saw online once, like the overly aggressive librarian, like the thug librarian. It was something called that or something like that. I don't exactly remember, but he would just go up to everyone like all whispering and shit. And this one guy's like, "You here for a book?" I was like, "No." Then get the fuck out of my library. I can't keep a straight face when I do it. Get the fuck out of my library. Alright. I've forgotten that the library closes early during the holidays. Hanako and I both get up and dust ourselves off, placing our books back on the shelf behind us. The fact that our tastes in reading material have a fair amount of overlap and is useful at times. With a bow. Oh yeah, we gave her a fucking bow! With a bow to Yuko to apologize for taking so much time, Hanako takes her leave of us.
See you tomorrow, Hisao.
Bye! And with that, she walks out of the large wooden aging doors that herald the entrance to the library. She's quite a person, isn't she? Oh, we know. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised at a staff member sharing personal opinions like this, but after knowing Yuko for a while, it's largely expected. Our relationship is more personal, rather than the one with her acting as the authority figure. Yeah, I think that's just how she is. She's got a lot more confidence in herself these days, though. I don't know her as well as you do, but I think I agree. It's nice to see her talking to people here. She never used to do that before. Hey, Yuko! You know about Lily's leaving, right? She told me herself a few days ago. It must be hard, leaving everyone behind like she is. She quickly looks back at me after she says this, probably remembering that I went to her for advice on the relationship between Lily and I before. Are you going to be okay? Oh yeah, fine. That's a difficult question. It's something I'd rather not think about for now, though, given more pressing issues. Something seems kind of off about the whole deal, don't you think? Like what, she's lying about going to Scotland? She's really going to Germany. Yuko appears to think for a while, absent-mindedly scrunching her face up in a variety of creative ways as she does so. I don't think I really know her well enough to make that kind of judgment. I'm sorry, I can't be more helpful, Bio. Nah, that's fine. I'm just sort of thinking aloud. I gave a deep sigh and scratched my head in frustration. There's just so much stuff happening at once that I have no control over. It feels like I'm being swamped. If you feel like you're being swamped now, Hisao, oh my fucking god, wait till later. In your life, I mean. I think everyone goes through times like that. I never stopped going through times like that. What's important is to concentrate on what you can do, rather than what you can't do. At least that's how I see it. If I didn't think like that, I don't think I'd be able to manage my life as it is. She says with a smile and a light tone, but her words are far from any kind of joke. Being pulled between two jobs as she is, just to hopefully make enough money not to only live, but also for university, must be exhausting. Perhaps that's why, coming from her, this feels like it has more meaning than it had come from most others. I guess you've got a point there. Thank you for your advice once again, Yuko. She bows deeply and smiles again. Excuse me. Before making her way back to the counter where she spends so much of her time. The tiny wings of the cardboard crane in my fingers are only just visible in the dim light of the room. Just a little of the moonlight being able to peek through the curtains and around their edges. I lie still in my dark bed for a long time, idly looking up at the little origami bird. It feels like a lot's happened since Lily folded this, but at the same time it feels like very little has changed. Compared to everyone else, I'm back to square one. I might have a newfound idea of where I want to go in life, but that's hardly something that affects me now. Hanako changed, I know that much. If anything, she just makes me feel like I've got no excuse to be like this, considering her previous situation. Lily, though. I turn the bird in my fingers another way, looking at it from yet another angle. Run to her, you fucking dolt! Oh, yes, it's stupid, cliche, and sappy, and do something! When I first met her, she seemed aloof and perhaps somewhat distant. Her actions were always careful, measured, and precise, and her carefully maintained composure always gave the appearance of unerring confidence and serenity. In time, she became less formal, just a bit, but enough. It felt good to see her lowering her inhibitions around me and opening up, even just a little, of her own accord. It feels as if I was seeing her real self slowly becoming more vibrant and visible. Now, though, I'm beginning to have doubts. Perhaps they're to be expected after what is, effectively, the two of us breaking up. They don't feel new or strange, though, but rather like an old book being found and dusted off. I soon realized after meeting Lily that she saw me as she did Hanako, as someone who needed help and care. At first, I simply thought that we'd be fine as friends, helping each other through our limited time together in school. But then I began to treasure our moments together more and more, from our quiet walks to our talking over lunch. The good sides of her personality became even more obvious, and even more likable. The absence caused by Lily's trip to Scotland to visit her long-distance family and sick aunt only made me realize how much I liked just being around her, and I thought that she felt a similar way. For her, though, maybe that wasn't everything to our relationship. Even after she returned to Japan, that just meant she lost her family once again after meeting them for such a brief time. She lived so much of her life without her family around, not to mention with Akira working long hours, that she had little choice but to be like that. I thought her sense of independence to be a good and admirable trait. It was in stark difference to my reliance on my parents before my heart attack, as reluctant as I may have been to admit it. However, it must have also meant that she never let people get too close to her. She lost her family likely due to her blindness, went to a different school from anybody she knew because of it, and worked all the harder to make sure she didn't end up a burden on her sister and those around her. And now, Akira's gone to Inverness. Please forgive me, Aaron, if I keep fucking up that fucking word. Just like the family she thought she lost. She never told me of her plans, as conflicted as she was about them. Lily didn't want to be a burden on anyone, including me. Fucking baka. I never questioned it. I never tried to be there or to ask when she needed me to. I just set my life up and expected it to stay that way forever, with the two of us having a nice long relationship where we pushed forward towards our future together. A small bit of frustration and anger at myself wells up in my chest. Don't do it too much. I don't think we can deal with like a third or fourth heart attack. I just let everything happen, never even trying to help Lily. Just her being there was enough. I thought I could keep going on if that were true. But that could never have been enough. It was a childlike dependence on somebody, without any attempt to understand or help their situation. Thanks to that, I lost Lily. I lost the one person I loved most because I wasn't there for her when she needed me. With an increasingly angry feeling washing over me, I turned over to set the crane back on the desk next to my clock, the place where it had lived on the day she folded it for me. Since that day when she herself said that my burns needn't be my own. The obnoxious bright red numerals in my alarm clock shine through the darkness of the room and onto my tired eyes. 10 o'clock. Evening. Curfew will be soon. I wonder... Oh, are we gonna fucking do it? Are we gonna run to her? I'm all for this. I normally fucking hate this love shit, but I'm all for an adventure. Go out the window! Akira mentioned that they'd be leaving this evening. I have no idea exactly when the flare flight is. That means there's a chance, however small, that they might not have left already. We're gonna run! We're gonna do it! Someone play something appropriate! I have no idea what song would be appropriate! Adrenaline starts to move through my body as I sit up on my bed, my eyes suddenly wide with possibility. There's no guarantee they haven't left. Indeed, it's likely that they already have. But there's also a chance they haven't, however small it may be. Run to her, you fucking do it! Just this once, just as I should have before. I stand up and rush over to my cabinet, throwing out some clothes as fast as I can and sliding them on in quick succession. Each second that goes by is a second that I can't regain. A second that may mean the difference between catching them and losing them forever. Even if I fail, I have to try. I can't let her leave anything behind without even trying to stop her. Without just this once being there for her. With the last of my clothes slipped on, I hastily grabbed the phone off my desk. Luckily, the number for the local taxi company is still on my call history. A gruff, unenthusiastic voice announces the name of the company while I pace around the room. It takes some effort to slow down my voice and keep it clear over the phone. The chilly air sweeps against me as I open the dormitory door. But nonetheless, I keep up my brisk speed as I half jog, half run out the school gates. I want to see some staff member get in my goddamn way. We're just going to fight our way all the way to the airport. Hey, you can't be. Hey, Hassan, what are you doing? Boom, boom, bam. Hey, you got the time? Pow, 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 pow. Let's do this. This is getting hype. It may not be curfew just yet, but it's precariously close. If there were a guard around, there'd be no doubt have some questions for me. But it looks like I've managed to come out just before they arrive. Or they're around the corner. You say it's in the name of love! My pace picks up as I make my way through the school gardens. Their nighttime allure all but lost when I begin to run through the school gate. The lamps of the courtyard, dim as they are, provide just enough illumination to light the way and prevent me from tripping over. The buildings themselves take on a rustic, almost antique-looking edge when I glance at them. Excuse me. Looking back, it seems strange that they once appeared so dark and looming to me. Now they just look to be somewhat anachronistic. Anachronistic school buildings. The same as others by their age. I just killed all momentum. Alright, Hisao, just fucking ram through the gates. Leaving the gates behind me, I pull up to a stop just before the taxi, parked just as Akira's car had been. Its gaudy and brightly lit sign looks out of place in the quiet country backdrop. I impatiently squeeze myself through the door, giving the driver the address for where the two who should hopefully be staying. By the time the taxi pulls up after its trip at maddeningly casual speed, it's well and truly deep into the night. The house is truly enormous, its sheer size much larger than I expected, and honestly still, fearing the worst, I ask the driver to stay just in case my efforts are for naught. A single press on the fancy intercom system outside the gate produces a short electronic melody in the otherwise silent road. It's not long before a somewhat deep, gruff voice can be heard from it. This is the Hakamichi residence. Please state your name and why the fuck you're bothering us this late. I press on despite inwardly wincing at the responsible annoyance audible in his voice. It's Hisao Nakai. I was hoping to meet Lily or Akira, if they're still here. Surprisingly, I managed to summon quite some energy to my voice, enough to make the other side of the intercom silent. A few seconds pass, but just before I press the button again and ask what the fuck's going on, a light turns on outside the front door. I strain my eyes to make out who's coming through, but as he comes past a large parked car with fishing rods sticking out of the back, his identity becomes clear.
His face is typically placid and motionless as he saunters up to the gate. He's still childlike in his mannerisms, despite his demur. With a press of a few buttons from behind the fence, the gate slowly opened. You son of a bitch! What have you fucking done with them? Hisao, stop! Stop violently shaking the man-child-girl thing! You son of a bitch! Hisao, stop it! We need answers from him! Hisao, what are you doing here? No, whatever the fuck your voice was. I think this is the most emotion I've ever heard from his voice. Not that it would be hard to reach that mark. Akira told me that she and Lily would be staying here before they left for their flight. I need to talk to Lily just one last time. Are they still here? The look on his face says everything. What have you fucking done? I failed. I was too late. The one time I actually needed to act quickly and I got held up on a fucking word! Actually, it's possible. What? Nani? What is it? He's a bit taken aback by my favor, but I can't help it at this point. They left not long ago, only a few minutes before you arrived, in fact. If you go straight to the airport, you might still be able to... Hisao? He just sees the fucking dust cloud in the shape of my body as I start sprinting. I dart back towards the waiting taxi, grabbing what little money is left in my pocket as I go. I throw it at the taxi driver's face and say, "Get to the airport!" Thanks, fuckface! With that, I take a seat and in short order bark out my destination. My chest beats wildly as I tear down the street, my body twisting this way and that to slip between the pedestrians walking back and forth beside me. With the road slightly blocked by the taxi and other cars, dropping off passengers, and picking up others in the time that they have to wait, we end up having to stop almost a block away. Get out of the car and run! Your arrhythmia be damned! Love will power you. But that's in the past now. What matters is reaching Lily. One foot hits the ground, the other quickly following without the slightest thought, as if my legs had taken on a life of their own, with all my mind can do is concentrate on the view ahead of me. Just one glimpse of that long hair of hers, that long yellow hair that was the same color as the wheat that stretched out as the eye could see. In the end, I depended on Lily, just like Hanako did. Even after we started going out, it still doesn't feel like she really ever let herself depend on me. Except for one moment. That one moment where we held each other tightly on that bright yellow field. At that time, she must have feared losing me just as she did everyone else. That's why. Just this once! The night air wraps around me, draining every last remnant of warmth out of my body, to the extent that it feels more like a midwinter than a summer night. My fingers, my hands, my feet, my toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and focus. They all feel increasingly cold. The sound of the passing crowds is reduced to no more than background hum, while the sound of my shoes hitting the pavement echoes loudly, every step surging towards the person I have to catch. Forced by my chest tightening in response to the cold of the night, I rest an arm over it to try and settle it down. Okay, we are literally on a fucking timer. 2 timers, actually. We're racing the clock. Big time. We have to catch the flight, and we have to outrun our hearts. We have to Usain Bolt this shit. Let's go. When the airport comes into view, though, I realize this feeling is as one I felt before. Not now. Of all the times to fucking kill over, please not now. I take a gulp and soldier on regardless. Oh my god. What the fuck did I just cough up? I'm coughing up love! pushing my body as far as it will go. Sweat pours off me as I hurtle forward, my shoulder hitting someone's side and my mind suddenly flooding with emotions and memories. Fuck everyone around you. You need to be throwing elbows left and right as you plow your way through. You should have brought your fucking bayonet. I continue on without an apology. Fuck that person. I have to keep moving now. If I stop, I'm not sure I could begin again. Even if I could, it would make all for naught if I'm not in time. I hit another person, then another, then another, then another. We turned the entire fucking airport into a massive battle royale. Someone throw... That's what I would have to do. For Hisao, I'll be like, oh, Hisao, I'm gonna throw a chair! Throw one, starts a riot, dives into the crowd and just starts fighting everyone. Like, go, Hisao, go! I'll hold off the cops! My feet feel... Okay. Either don't bring me on your love adventures, or do. But if you do, shit will go down, but you might or may not get the girl. My arms are losing all feeling. My chest forces me to hunch over awkwardly, tightening even more. That afternoon in the snow, that time when my life irreversibly changed. Images of Iwanako and that damn letter flash over and over in my mind. The first love I'd lost thanks to my condition. I couldn't let that happen again. I don't care what happens to me anymore. I just need to see her one last time. If you need even more assistance when I'm not fighting the crowd, Hisao, I will come over and drop the people's elbow on your heart to kickstart it. There! There they are! What the fuck is that child thing at the bottom of the screen? That doesn't matter now. Kick that thing in the face, elbow the guy in white to the left, and just for good measure, bicycle kick the girl in the green right over there. A silver, yellow, and white comes into view in some distance down the road. Her figure is silhouetted by the lights emanating from the airport entrance. Lily! 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 Stop, please! Lily! Come on, Lily, I know your hearing's far beyond the... Woo! My view suddenly spins out of control and ends up on the ground. My body haphazardly sprawled after hitting someone and stumbling over. Before I can assess the damage, an unbelievable pain ignites in my body. All my thoughts are blanked as I curl up and frantically clutch at my chest. You okay, lady? No one's gonna get that reference unless you know of the game The Ring. Terror's Realm! Hey, are you okay? That was a really bad fall. That was awesome as shit. I recorded the whole thing. This pain, I can't... Any sharp knock could do me in. Any overexertion. I thought I could overcome my limits this once. I think something's wrong with this guy. What's the matter? The voices of those gathering around me are gradually replaced by a loud ringing in my ears. By now, I'm unable to move my head. My eyes turn upwards to see the moving of their lips. So great. My man Hisao's having a heart attack, and I'm over here having a fucking stroke as I lose my ability to read. Even as I clutch my chest, I realize I can't feel my fingers anymore. nor my feet. It feels like my entire body is shutting down. Starting from my extremities. Up, and there go the bells. With one last effort, I turn my head down the road towards the airport entrance that's casting its lights over me. Lily is there, behind the crowd. Her head is tilted, but only just slightly. She's listening! She's listening! Something's piqued her interest. Oh, there we go. Oh, fuck. It's this nice piano, by the way. I feel my vision dimming as I try to yell out, but nothing emerges from my mouth despite my best efforts. Slowly but surely, my vision begins to black out at the scene before me. So, this is how I end. Clutching at my chest on cold pavement surrounded by pedestrians and other people I may or may not have kicked in the face and injured terribly in my mad dash for love. So basically going out kicking, screaming, surrounded by my fallen opponents. I can almost accept this death. I failed. I was so close. So very close. But at the very last moment, my conditions seized my chance at a new life and dragged me back. Now I'm going to die, sprawled out just meters from an airport, with a crowd of babbling idiots surrounding me, with Lily leaving for Scotland just a little distance ahead. Lily. The last word extinguishes the last of my energy. The word falls into a deep, inescapable blackness as every muscle in my body shuts down. I'm sorry, Lily. I was too late. If the credits roll, I'm going to fucking cry. What's my time? Guys, if we're not dead, which if we're not dead, if we're about to wake up in a hospital, I literally don't know how much more this can actually continue. I feel like everything just got exhausted, story-wise. So, yeah. Give me a second. I need to check my time. So, yeah, folks. I've been at this for about, at least according to my timer, like 40 minutes. So, I think we're going to end it here. I think it's a good place. How the fuck do we top this ending? Well, how is this even going? If I'm dead, if I continue and I'm just looking at fucking pearly gates, I don't know. I'm taking a gamble here, and I'm going to take a gamble here. I'm going to take a gamble here, and say that this is going to be a whole other chapter to get through, and meaning it's not going to be like some quick wishy-washy thing about I don't know. I gotta get out of my head. Oh my god! You know what I need to just actually do? End this recording here. Just keep fucking going. We're just gonna we're gonna end this recording here, and we're gonna keep fucking going. We're gonna get this shit out. Because I need to know how this frickin' ends. So yeah, folks, you know that usual drill. Like, favorite, subscribe. If that's even still a thing. Follow the Facebook, hop on board the Discord. You stay awesome out there, folks. With any luck, the next episode is going to be real close behind. Real close behind, but until then, stay awesome out there, guys. Don't ever pull a me. I mean, if you want to pull a me, make sure you bring me along. But so don't usually pull a me. If you're trying to reach the person you love, you just gotta start fighting everyone. But you know what? I guess love makes you do stupid things. Anyway, adios, guys.